You guys see this? A whole bunch of game companies saw their valuation plummet on Open because Google put out a project claiming they would make video games with AI, and investors who are stupid were like, "Oh shit, video games are over. Investors love AI slop." They really, really do. They really do. Can somebody explain to me how games are supposed to work in AI when it can't record variables? Like, all you could ever do is move around and then it would generate new imagery based on the direction you move in, like that old Minecraft thing. It can record variables, but like, this isn't an actual 3D environment. It's just a generated image. Like, they haven't actually constructed a 3D world with like the objects and so on. You can generate mesh? Yeah, you can generate mesh, but that doesn't mean that's what they're doing here. I feel like for this one in particular, I can actually see the photograph that it stole from to make this quote-unquote game. This is why Ubisoft's stock fell 10% on Open today. You're misunderstanding what's going on. The Minecraft thing was just running Minecraft on an AI image generator. Making a game is using the AI to generate a 3D model, write the code, etc. It can save and run anything. I don't really think that's true, because it can't be, it's not running an actual physics engine. Like, if you walk forward in this environment, the environment responds not based off internal physics calculations, but rather based on what the AI is extrapolating an image would look like, or a 3D model would look like after it's been affected in that way. Or like, to put it another way, you could make, how do I put this? Like, you could make a couch and you could make the couch look like a couch when you jumped off of it, but it's vibing it through it. It's not like actually simulating an effect, which means that if you wanted to build anything, what would you call it? Like extrapolative or material or diegetic out of the properties within a game, you would only get what the AI considers intuitive. You know, you couldn't really build complex overlapping systems in something like this because there aren't really systems. There are just what you tell the AI to keep in mind, and then what it extrapolates based off the infinite plagiarism model that it's built. You know? Maybe, Sam. I don't know if I have nasal polyps. I don't know. I can look at it. Maybe. No, dumbass, it does build the code piece by piece the way a regular programmer does. It just does it so shittily. I don't think that's true. I don't think it's not building a bunch of back-end code to determine like the parallax or the whatever. I don't think that's true at all. They have a paper on it, submitted in 2024. We introduced Genie, the first generative interactive environment trained in an unsupervised manner from unlabeled internet videos. The model can be prompted to generate an endless variety of action-controllable visual worlds described through text, synthetic images, photographs, or even sketches. It is comprised of a spatiotemporal video tokenizer, an autoregressive dynamic model, and a simple and scalable latent action model. Note they don't turn around and look at the environment again. It's always moving forward. Yeah, that's a good thing to point out. Yeah, they never turn around or like, hey, does this look the same when I look at it twice? Or if I look at this from a different angle, does it make physical sense? Because it's not a real 3D object. It is some object permanence, but it has object permanence in the sense that it's remembering the prompt, but it's not remembering like all the details of the world. You know, you couldn't have complex procedural systems and then turn around and have those systems work behind you. You know, like the very basic element of games. If you're playing a Mario game and you run forward and there's a Goomba that chases you and they're right behind you, like the Goomba is going to keep doing Goomba things even when you're not looking at it. Well, they visually unload when you're not looking, but they can still move around. But if in an AI game, like it would behave totally differently. It doesn't have like those pre-built systems or whatever. Wonder how expensive this is to run.
I just made a knockoff of Super Mario 64 using Google's AI tools. Here's my knockoff of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, complete with a paraglider. I was able to make the knockoffs using a new generative AI tool from Google called Project Genie. Google says it's an experimental research prototype, and it's rolling out now to Google.
Yeah, they already showed this, man.
So this is kind of exciting and amazing car kind of thing, but obviously, you know, the fun part is creating your own worlds. So interface wise, we have options for text to a world. I mean, that sounds weird to say. We can also do image to world, and then additional options to have our world generated either in first person or third person. Plus we can actually, in third person view, obviously describe our character. So after issuing a text prompt, and I'll talk a little bit more about prompting in a bit, you're met with a, well, I'd say nano banana preview, I guess. The prompt here was Google Street View, first person view, action cam of a New York City street, you know, your movement, and we're off. So I guess I'm kind of in a weird like motorbike thing here.
Looks a lot shittier when it's not a visual demo put out by Google.
And just cruising down a New York City street. Kind of doing this one live. Yeah, I would say that the control.
What the f is going on with that van over there?
Live. Yeah, I would say that the controls are a little bit like drifty. It's not too bad. It's actually the best of.
Those two cars are overlapped. Man, it's crazy how much worse this looks when it's not one of the like very carefully curated Google.
Drifty. It's not too bad. It's actually the best.
Look at those.
Of these world model controls that I've actually felt so far.
What the f is that
Definitely
car?
Not like a Twitch shooter here or anything like that again, but once again, I mean, this is kind of crazy if you really think about it. Yeah, there are some like, you know.
It's not, man. It's just generating the images bit by bit. It's just extrapolating. It's the same as every other AI generation model. It's with the added gimmick of you being able to WASD your way through it. You could do this before. You could literally, like with ChatGPT, make an image and then say move forward in the painting, and then you would move forward into the next image.
Morphing and decoherence issues a little bit. I mean, it's not too bad, especially if you're kind of, you know, paying attention to what's directly in front of you. But yeah, I mean, like that bus kind of gets a little wonky. You can crash into things too. It's actually got, you know, physicality sort of. I mean, you kind of bounce off of them, but this isn't like a Gaussian splat where you end up like, you know, teleporting through a thing. Like the things that are here are here. So let's go. Well, we're out of time. So that's another thing. Your generations are capped at 1 minute.
Dude, then how can it be a game?
After you're done, you actually have options to download the video, re-roll your prompt, or you can modify it. So if we hit this modify.
Unity's stock dropped by 10%. No, was it not Unity? Sorry. Like Take-Two Games and CD Projekt Red. They lost tens of millions of dollars because investors saw this and they were like, this is the future of gaming.
Here, let's just turn this into a winter scene. The people of New York are probably not very happy with me saying that, considering, you know, the giant snowstorm that they were just through. So we hit the modify button, and now we're rolling down unsalted streets that the snow removal team has not gotten to. Not dogging on them or anything. That was a bad storm that we had. So yeah, this is pretty crazy. So for a third-person perspective option, I decided to, you know, get out of the snow, head over to the West Coast, and prompted for a
GTA.
Google Street View of Hollywood Boulevard, once again in third person. And yeah, we ended up with this, which, to be honest, kind of comes off as like an inadvertent reskin of Grand Theft Auto 5. You'll note that we do have like these, you know, background characters here. Genie will put them in. They don't really, that lady moves, but they don't really do a lot. They are kind of like static characters for the most part, and kind of a little bit on the blobby side when you get up close to them. Your main character, though, I mean, he's got a face. What I find really interesting about all of this, too, is that like, it's not quite Hollywood Boulevard. It is, but it's not. Like, that was the Chinese theater. But I mean, little details like over on that corner, that I think it's the Ripley's building should be there. But it's not. Is it still open? I don't know if it is. But, you know, clearly, like, Genie.
I love the stars on the ground. Look at that.
Knows where we are. Google Street View obviously, you know, has that data. But, you know, we're kind of getting a weird scrambling. I think that's the Egyptian theater over there, where it's kind of a little more on like the generic-y side, like in this case, Fishing Village on Maui. Yeah, I mean, it definitely gets where you are. I mean, like Lahaina Fish Company and Maui Dive Shop. So 100% catching the vibe here. Can you tell it's winter out and it's super cold because we've gone basically from New York in the snow. This, of course, is our man in a blue business suit walking down a busy city street. Now, you'll note that it does kind of have this like sort of like video gamey kind of look to it. I have found that in the text to world mode that like Genie definitely kind of wants to lean into this direction kind of often. So one of the tricks is in prompting is definitely spam a lot of words like, you know, cinematic, like IMAX, GoPro graphic look to it. So yeah, just a tip on that front. You know, the other note, of course, is that we have a bunch of garbled text back there. We actually do talk about that a little bit more.
He's literally not saying anything good about it. Every single time I skip to a new like generated world, he's like, here are problems with it.
Honesty. Next up, I was curious to see how...
I hope everyone knows, though, the problem with this stuff is not the fact that there are like bad meshes or bad textures or whatever. The problem is that fundamentally this technology is really bad at retaining information. Like, if you tried to, through AI, generate the rules and the physics that hold together a game like, say, Super Mario 64, that would end up being prohibitively costly. Like, and I don't just mean a couple of liters of water. I mean that the amount of, like, inefficient AI threading you would have to do to pull that together, it would be like apocalyptic. To hold that together for an hour, for 2 hours, for 3, to play a whole game? No, the problem is that it's evil and soulless. Of course, but I'm talking about like in implementation, you know? Would you be okay with AI if it didn't hallucinate then? No, of course not. But I'm saying that this is technologically not, AI technologically can generate realistic images and even video. It cannot technologically create video games. That is just not something it's capable of doing. I wish there was some way, if it was possible, to use AI to recreate in its entirety, and I mean all of the details, correctly, Super Mario 64, and then make a comparison on how much data that takes up versus the original file size. Like the original file size, whatever, 2 megabytes, and then you compare it to this enormous labyrinth of black box AI data making that you would need. It would be like 160 gigabytes. No. I think that it would be petabytes. I think it would be like it would not be possible because it generates no, I mean it. It generates information so inefficiently. Think of how much power and processing it takes for AI to generate an image as opposed to just the file size itself. Like, how much does it take a computer opening up an image versus creating that image via AI? It's an exceptionally inefficient process, you know? I think that in order to like, because it's not good at doing that, creating consistent rules that it has to remember, it'd be apocalyptic, man. They want to make games more demanding, so you have to buy their cloud services. Yes, yeah, they've explicitly said so. The era of constantly improving game hardware at home is over. The GPU prices are not going to come down anytime soon, in my opinion. The goal is to transfer everything over to cloud gaming, you know? I'm telling you, man, Gabe Newell dies, Steam starts switching over to a cloud-based service. Everyone has to pay a subscription individually for access to every single game that they play. The plan, it's coming together. It's all going to be Israeli cloud servers. It's going to be nightmarish.
The model would handle highly stylized inputs. So I ended up grabbing this image of an environment that we generated up in Midjourney. I always kind of really like this style. And then running this in third person, I was pretty impressed with how the model ended up handling, you know, essentially the style and consistency. But I did wonder, like, where's our character? This seems to be in first person until I turn around and then, oh, there's our girl. She's like, you know, sorry, I was dealing with, you know, beating up some bad guys on another level a minute ago. So running around and exploring the environment with her, you know, jumping across chasms does pretty well. I did see this door over here, ended up wandering back over there just to see if I could open the door. There is no interactivity yet. We do talk about that later on.
Yet. Like that, like they're gonna be able to implement that. Oh yeah, any day now.
Again. So from there, you know, just kind of wandering around the environment. Again, very impressed with the stylistic consistency of everything. I was curious to see if we could have her, you know, jump to her death. I don't know why I do things like that. But as it turns out, yeah, this jump should do at least some kind of damage, but no, you know, nothing. She's fine. And then this is interesting. When I wandered over here, there's some kind of like item. And yeah, I mean, you couldn't really do anything with it and it timed out right after that, but found that very fascinating. Next up.
Yeah, really interesting.
Wandered over here with some kind of
look at that. Whatever, I assume this is stealing from blueprints, so it's hallucinating interactive elements, even though itself it has no interactivity. It's so bad, dude.
Like item and then
yeah, it goes away.
You couldn't really do anything with it and it timed out right after that, but found that very
no, it's stealing from Tomb Raider. Yeah, the stuff on the top right is Tomb Raider, but don't the buildings look like blueprints?
Fascinating. Next up, I was curious to see how the model would handle, well, like real environments and real photos. So I ended up grabbing, well, it's kind of an older photo of the studio when it was clean. I'm not going to take a picture right now because you would judge me. So running that, I mean, this is just kind of fascinating in all honesty. It does kind of garble up the gear, the computer and the monitor and whatnot. But I'm just like endlessly fascinated by this. This is not what the rest of the studio looks like. But yeah, I mean, it creates entirely new rooms. Right. Apparently, I guess I live in a bamboo forest, I guess, if you can tell by the...
I just don't understand how it's fascinating. It sounds like he's not fascinated by it either, and he's just hyping it up. No hate to this guy, and I know I'm like blocking him the whole time. He seems like an okay guy. I'm not trying to be hateful or whatever. It's just, I don't understand what's fascinating about it. Like, yeah, okay, so it can hallucinate the environment.
By the window outside.
But it's not a real environment. And there's also nothing interesting in its creation. You can never look at it and look at the details in it and go, wow, so they thought of that, you know? Isn't that one of the most fun parts of exploring really densely, like, cluttered areas? Like, you're playing Edith Finch or whatever, and you look in a room and it's like, oh, the developers put a lot of time and effort into this place. There's lots of, like, tidbits, and you know it's all intentional because they put it there. Like, it's none of it is just an incidental byproduct of their like AI hallucination. Like it's meaningful. What does that guitar mean? What does that light mean? What does this weird misshapen window mean? What does this couch mean? This looks like a leather couch. That is very expensive. Does that mean anything about this room? That plus the back paneling.
Yeah, it's almost like walking through like a dream version, not like a dream, like this is what I would love to have, but like literally I'm having a dream. The other thing that was kind of fascinating there is as we walked into that other room, kind of want that couch. As we walk into that other room, when we return back here, it is still the same environment. Like those guitars are still there. There's an entirely different section over here that we can.
Okay, so that's why this is limited to 60 seconds, because they are pressing the AI to remember some information about where it's been.
hop into. It gets a little bit on the dark side, so this might be the nightmare segment of the dream for some more tests on object permanence. I ended up generating up this image in Nano Banana, kind of a very Elden Ring inspired game, and then running this. I hop right off and head over to check out that knight on a horse there, and yeah, I mean, he's pretty solid. You can't really interact with him or talk with him or anything like that. You can't jump on the horse. You can't even like whap the horse on the butt to make him run away. But
can't do anything.
There
right.
he is. There is another knight that's in the background there. So I thought it'd be an interesting test to head up to that knight and then turn around to see if we could still see our initial knight. And yep, our guy's still there. Once again, head over, get a closer look at this knight, and then turn around to check on, once again, our former knight. And yep, he's...
Why do AI models have limited object permanence? Because they don't work the way normal computers work. They use a a colossal backdrop of information that they pull from to get inspiration for what they think something should look like based on the information that you give it. They don't really maintain, they don't hold information in mind. It's one of the reasons why if you talk to ChatGPT, they'll lie to you, and then you say, ChatGPT, you lied, and then they'll be like, oh, you're right, I did. My bad. I'll never do it again. You know, it's, yeah, there's no like states within the machine. There isn't like a concrete info that it can always have and always refer to. It's more like it kind of gestures at truth, or tries to gestures at what it's been told to do. It's very interesting. It's just unfortunate that demons are trying to use it to end the world.
Still there. So yeah, it's pretty impressive. I mean, it definitely does remember where it puts things. Moving on to two outputs that, I mean, kind of just ended up blowing me away. I ended up taking this image, this, kind of like hipster restaurant in New York that we have run on the channel in the past. And the intention here was that I wanted to explore the bar area. But as I began running the generation, what sort of surprised me was that I could walk through the window. So I was like, all right, well, let's just keep going on and exploring the city. And it just kind of took me aback at how far I could get from our initial location.
Why? You have 60 seconds. It's just generating new images. How is that? It's not doing anything more than it was already doing. It was already generating new images based on prior prompts, and now it's doing the same thing. The distance you move from the original place does nothing other than create more information it has to keep in mind, which is hence the 60-second limit.
Again, like I was thinking like I was just going to be exploring, a small restaurant. And as it turns out, I could walk out into a city. And on top of it, like consistency wise, at least, or aesthetically, I guess, at least, like it's managing to maintain and hold the vibe of that initial input image. It's kind of early into my testing, and I was really trying to play pirate. Did do was initially it does that push in and then kind of pulls out again of this environment that is an extension of the table, but not really. Our table comes back again. Because yes, this is initially at least only rolling out to the Google Ultra tier, so the pricey one. That said, this is sort of par for the course for these big flashy models. When they initially debut, they would start off on the highest tier, be this Google, OpenAI, or really any of them, and then eventually they kind of filter their way down and then eventually open up via API. Google themselves said that their goal is to make these experiences and technology accessible. So if you're not on the Ultra plan, give it some time. If you really want to play with it, you can sign up for the Ultra plan.
$250 a month, actually. I assume this is a startup deal.
And now, in terms of interesting ideas and use cases, a powerhouse platform so fast is that they into a seamless and intuitive studio space. AI Studio Space is designed to be a true AI production experience, giving creators more control at every stage of video creation. And I'll say this is
this one's never going to roll out for the general public because the cost of maintaining those models, like this has got to be very costly on the servers. Very costly on the servers. I bet this guy's being paid by Google to promote it. He could be authentic, man. I'm not trying to be like super hateful or whatever. Then again, his Twitter handle is literally Theomedia AI. So, I mean, he's clearly in it. How much power do you think it takes to generate 1 minute of bad video game with AI? Really, the water use is much less pressing than the power use, but yeah. To me, it just feels like Google and the other AI companies are aware of the fact that AI is souring with most people. Like, most people are just sick of seeing it pressed everywhere all the time. And they're trying to come up with like new gimmicks, new ways of like, hey guys, no, 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 this is the future. This is the future. So they have to push this. Are investors dumb? Yes. Or more accurately, investors assume every other investor is dumb, so they get in on those trends, hoping to cash out at the best time. Yeah, all this guy does is talk about AI. Jesus Christ, man. It's literally all whatever. Check oldest vid? Man, that's really sad. That's really, really sad. Music tutorials. It didn't take long, though. Yeah, it didn't take long at all. The happening will be soon. Genie 3 just created this mock 3D game world from Breath of the Wild. Dude, check it out. It can generate images that look like the game you could just play. You could just play it. You could just play the game. Yeah, I love the frozen stamina bar. Are they trying to summon Nintendo's lawyers?